Hello all, this is Group Three's business idea presentation for Entrepreneurship 5000. We will have 5 business ideas that we're going to be going over, and we will end with the ideas we rejected and our full ideation process. So, for the first idea, we have Cumulocar. This was a product that my friends and I kind of messed around with on a simple Arduino, but we didn't feel like it was easy enough for your everyday person to use. So this idea is a simple plugin that goes underneath your dash that will immediately make your car cloud connected, so you can lock your car from an app or roll down your windows or even remote start from a website. Basically, once it is plugged in, you'll connect it like a Bluetooth device to your phone. You'll be prompted to install an application. Once that application's installed, you will create an account, and from there you will be able to set up your personalized uses on there. So if you only want to be able to remote start, that's simple. Just the press of a button from an application or a website on your phone, and you're good to go.
Wolfpack. The reason Wolfpack is a good business idea is because a lot of Americans have this problem. 30 to 40% of dogs in America are under-exercised. Just like my dog Duke to the right in this presentation. That picture right there is my German Shepherd puppy. He has a lot of energy, and when he does not get his energy out and doesn't get enough exercise, he lashes out with some behavioral problems such as digging, pulling on a leash, and jumping. So some of the ways that help solve this problem are through the Wolfpack. Wolfpack gives your dog a job, and it helps focus their attention. Also, the best part is it maximizes their exercise time. So 15 minutes of walking with the backpack is equivalent to 30 minutes of normal walking.
These past few weeks, I've done quite a bit of shopping online, and the more I do, the more I realize I rely heavily on the different reviews that I'll find for different products. It's really the way to be able to metaphorically touch and feel a product, since we don't have the ability while we're doing the shopping online to go and feel and lift and do what we normally would inside of a store. And so I was thinking along the lines of that with the different dining experiences that I've had at new places. You know, we always know what we like based on what we've done a million times, but when we decide to venture out, we do the same thing. We go and try to find a review, something that would give us a little bit of confidence in going to that place. And so my thought was, there seems to be a great flaw with the dining reviews and just reviews in general, that if someone has any form of a bad experience, even if it's small, they will put a 1-star or low review on a product. And I was thinking, those don't really help me in making that decision, because I basically have to take a grain of salt with everything that I'm reading, just to be able to siphon a general idea of what my experience is going to be. So I thought, let's create a system that will have a little bit more in-depth rating, will require more than just simply putting in 1 to 5 stars, and will be weighted on different factors that would be pretty common throughout different restaurants, like it stated on the slide: wait time, quality of food, taste, the price, of course. But the process of justice reviews, we'll call it, came to me by turning off those filters, as we were talking about in, I believe it was the article, How to Get Startup Ideas. It was a mix of turning off those filters and starting to see things how they truly are, as well as just looking for things that I'm not completely satisfied with. That was really the gist of it, is what's wrong with my current situation, or what's wrong with what we do in our day-to-day activities. That led me to this idea. And I think the way that it would be most profitable is through advertising, with the accumulation of businesses that would love to do their own advertising and would love to have that business that can say, this is essentially the Better Business Bureau of today. It doesn't seem like we use that source as much as we did in years past. We go onto a Google review or on Amazon before we buy a product. We always look at the star ratings. So to have something with as much legitimacy as one of those older trusted sources that would really allow the doors to open to have business funding and other advertising as well to be successful in that field. And as it's stated as well, that's something that could easily be transitioned into other industries as the time goes on and as the company gains validity. So seems like a good idea to me, but it definitely took a lot of bad ideas to get to that point.
One of the business ideas that I had was creating a program that allows skilled nursing facilities to see lab results as soon as the labs get the results. The program would allow any skilled nursing facility staff to see the lab results as soon as the results are ready, instead of having to wait for the labs to fax the results over to the skilled nursing facility. I came up with this idea because it's an issue that comes up a lot with the lab, the doctors and nurses at my job. Most of the times we don't get labs faxed over to us until 2 days after it was drawn, or the lab was misplaced and it can't be found. And all these issues come up off too much. And one of the issues that we just had last week with the lab was that our fax machines were down and we couldn't even get any labs for that day because the way that they send them over to us is through the fax machine. Therefore, I would find my idea very helpful in skilled nursing facilities where labs are drawn every day. The processes that I used to come up with this idea was that the problems that come up at work, that for not having a set place for labs, and the fact that it would make my job a lot easier if we had a program like this. And then in the article, how to get startup ideas, it mentions that the best startup ideas have 3 things in common, which are something the founders want, something they can build, and something that few people think are worth doing. I don't think many people think about this unless they actually work in a skilled nursing facility and deal with having to receive labs. And also in the Lean Startup book, it's also mentioned that the goal of a startup is to figure out the right thing to build and something that customers will want to pay for. So I think that many skilled nursing facilities would be willing to pay this, because often I hear nurses talking about how they wish lab results would just go into the system instead of them having to wait for the labs to fax them over. This is why I think this is a good idea and how I came up with it.
Our last business idea is a tutoring app. I had no sense of direction on what I wanted to do, but I knew whatever the idea was, it had to be relevant, easy to use, and something that people my age needed. Being a college student who doesn't live on or near campus, it is hard to go to school for help when you don't have class on certain days. There's motivation to do well, and the tutoring center does offer help, but there's always long waits with the possibility that the tutor might not be even able to help you, and that's very discouraging. So the idea of a tutoring app came to me in a format of the popular dating app called Tinder. It's easy to use and straight to the point based on the initial bio. And if there's further interest, you can go ahead and message the other party and plan out things from there. There will be filters based on your different schooling needs, just like how there are filters on a personal preference on a dating website. You can find things through your major, class you're in, project you need help with, or presentations and papers, and many other things. This slide, we will be talking about some of the ideas that we rejected. A lot of them were really good ideas, but it ultimately did not make the cut. The following slides will tell you why, but these are some of the ideas. We had an idea for a transportation company that will pick up anything for customers from the store or make your purchases for them, such as groceries, food, etc. We had an app similar to Expedia, but for reservations for clubs, restaurants, sports games, concerts, basically any tickets that you need online. We had an app or service that lets car enthusiasts trade each other's car for an agreed amount of time based on mileage and based on the agreed contracts between the two parties trading. Our last one was we had a service or reward system for not using phones while driving. There's a potential for business with state government or insurance companies to promote safer driving, especially Utah with the zero tolerance.
In the Lean Startup, Eric Rice addresses being able to find a product or a service that people would be willing to spend their money on, and then taking that idea and getting it into the customer's hands as quickly as possible for that business or idea. With our group, we took 5 ideas each, and then we all shared them with each other, and then we were able to rate them from 1 to 5, as you see in the graph there that is shown on the slide there. We then were able to find out which ideas were strong and which ones were a bit weaker, and from that we were able to find out which ideas we were more passionate about and that we could pursue further to do further research on and possibly develop that into a product. Through this ideation process, we were able to find ideas that we could pursue further and then potentially bring into the market so that we could begin to sell that to customers and develop it further.